It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, heading towards a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast, Hacksaw's Headlines, brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations in San Diego to serve you. Got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend, your consultant. Just go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. We welcome you to our Thursday podcast. We decided today we're not going to violate the dress code. We are celebrating all things NHL hockey playoffs and the reemergence of the Anaheim Ducks as a hockey team. I was not going to violate the dress code. I was not going to let my co-host, the guy from left field with his opinions, or sometimes are like hockey pucks getting shot into the crowd. John Riley is joining us, dressed accordingly because he did get the memo. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You came rolling in. You got all the gear. This is a big time for the Ducks, man. You got to be loving this.
Yeah, this is fabulous for those of us hockey fans. And John is wearing his Paul Kariya autographed Ducks jersey. I'm
Where is it?
wearing
Right here.
my favorite Ducks jersey because we're celebrating the NHL playoffs and the reemergence of Ducks puck. We're going to go a lot of different directions on this podcast because we do sports talk the way it should be done, topics, opinions. But when we're done, you get the chance to join us, and we're going to reopen the vault. The Fans Forum chat box is open for business to talk about whatever you want to talk about, to criticize our fashion statement. You go anywhere you want. John, for the people on live stream who've never, ever participated, this is kind of like modern-day version of sports talk radio, where we used to open the damn phones, get off your ass and get on the phone. This is a little bit different. Explain how Fans Forum works.
Yeah, you just got to jump in, go into the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook, get involved. I see Do You Love It and Teamer 20 are already on board. We're gonna rip it, Lee. Here we go.
Yeah, so join us, Fans Forum coming up. Just a reminder, we do sports talk in kind of a unique fashion. I also have a newly designed sports website. We laid it out very differently. I guess we've kind of moved into the 21st century. I want you to check out my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's all written. You get to read the best 15 minutes in sports. You get the one man's opinion column every day, and you got to read the column I wrote this morning about Ted Turner and what he means to society. And while you're on the website, join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. There's just a box on the right. Fill it out. Get on the email list because I and John send out 2 sports newsletters a day to your inbox. It's there in the morning. There's another one in the afternoon. So when you join the Insiders Group, and you don't have to wear a hockey jersey to open your account, but Insiders Group, you'll get the 2 newsletters a day. Want you to give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, give us a 5-star rating on Apple. It helps us grow this podcast. We're in our 4th year, over 10,000 subscribers. Would like to push that number a little bit more. So help us grow this thing with one of these along the way. John, I'm ready. We got an absolute ton of things that we're going to talk about. What do you want to start?
Okay. We usually like to start with baseball during the baseball season. How about these Padres? High payroll, low voltage lineup.
Oh, my goodness. The record says, if you looked at the standings this morning, 22-14. They're chasing the Dodgers. Somehow, some way, the Padres are a half game out of first place with half a pitching staff and half the lineup hitting well below the norm in batting averages. Now, end of the day, I'm not going to throw cold weather on the fact they're 22-14. But the Padres have played only 2 teams with winning records so far this season. The 7 other teams they've played have a combined 37 games under 500. So thank goodness who they've played with the situation they're at. But the stats don't lie. Padres, despite this payroll, and there's a lot of big money dudes in his batting order, Padres are ranked 27th in the majors with a .230 batting average. Padres are 30th in OPS with a .680 percentage, with a lot of guys earning big dollars. The mystery, Tatis is 0 for the season. no home runs in 36 games. Machado hitting in the 220s. Cronenworth hitting a .149. Sheets hitting in the 220s. I broke down some Tatis numbers today. Tatis's ground ball rate is at an all-time record high. And you critiqued his swing last week.
Yeah.
52% of his swings have resulted in bouncing ground balls.
Need launch angle.
17% of his swings, fly balls, which is an all-time low for Tatis. Launch angle, etc. Swing and miss, strikeout rate, 25%, all-time high. The kid mechanically is flawed. Are we the only ones, two dumbasses wearing hockey jerseys on a podcast? Are we the only ones that see these mechanical flaws? You got that Ivy League coaching staff under Craig Stammen. There's nobody there that's fixed this kid, or does the kid not take instruction? And, you know, he's making $30 to $35 million right now. No home runs. So you take that and Machado in the 220s, and in the fact that Cronenworth has totally disappeared from the batting order statistically, and Sheets has not been what Sheets you would hope would be from an occasional long ball, they've just got so many issues in the batting order with 130 games to play. Meanwhile, on the mound, you got King, you got Vasquez, and then the rest of it is Jekyll Hyde. Buehler scraps. You know, his last start was a prime example in San Francisco, John. Gives up 4 runs in the first 2 innings and looks like he's not going to survive, and then retires 11 in a row. Marquez is gone with the tender elbow. Giolito, he's not ready. So he pitches a rehab game in Class A, Lake Elsinore. That's against college kids, draft picks, and high school kids. He goes 4 innings, gives up 5 runs and 8 hits and 10 base runners. And this guy's going to save your season?
No.
No, at this point in time, no. And there are some kids deep in the farm system having good first months of the minor league seasons. This one's a mystery to me. Remember the 6'8" left-hander they drafted a summer ago, Cruz Schoolcraft?
Oh, yeah.
He's at Lake Elsinore. He's now pitched 5 games. Now, this is after they took him last summer in the draft, spent the entire summer and into the fall league just working on mechanics, developing repertoire pitches. He didn't pitch competitively. They put him in Lake Elsinore. 5 games, 10 innings, 21 hits, 13 walks, 20 runs in his minor league debut. His ERA in Class A ball's 13.50, and this is after a summer and fall of tutelage, and the kid can't throw strikes, and the kid can't keep people off the bases. 34 base runners in his first 10 innings as a pro in Class A ball, so that's a struggle. Here come the Cardinals, one of the surprise teams in Major League Baseball. I don't think St. Louis is for real. They're not going to do this for the next 130 games either. But the Cardinals are 21-15. Padres get them for this weekend series. So, John, can you believe what you see? High payroll, low voltage. They don't look like a second-place pennant contending team to me.
I love the Chargers metaphors creeping into baseball here. Okay, now let's look at the positive, all right? You have legit concerns, all right? But let's look at the positive. They are still, half a game out of first place?
Thank goodness those teams are 37 games under 500 they beat.
But still, they're half a game out of first. They are in the number 1 wild card slot right now. Now, granted, St. Louis is in the number 2, so that's going to be a tough assignment. Jackson Merrill woke up in San Francisco. I mean, he was hitting the ball. His OPS is finally starting to get near 700, which is still not good enough. But we're seeing Jackson Merrill turn the corner. Waldron looked good. They took the pressure off him. So they brought in Rodriguez as the opener, and then Waldron started in the second inning, and he looked really strong for what did he go, 5 innings or 6 innings deep? And so that's a positive. Machado's going to be fine. I mean, Machado will be all right. Tatis is a cluster. This is a mess. And, Padre Twitter, they all think they're a hitting coach, right? I've seen the video breakdown. No, we just got to let Tatis be a power hitter. Let him bring up the leg kick. Just let Tatis be free. But I don't know what the hell's going on with that guy. It doesn't make sense. And we saw that, obviously, after the PED suspension, he is a different player. But even the non-juiced Tatis was a hell of a lot better than what we're seeing now. And if this isn't cutting it, I mean, and so you got to give Craig Stammen credit for moving that lineup around, and I think that's good. And I think that sends messages. In the end, you still got to hit. It doesn't matter if you're batting number 2 or number 5 or wherever the hell you are in the lineup, you got to hit. But at least Stammen is trying to shake things up, and I give him credit for that. So the Padres win 2 out of 3 in San Francisco. That's one of your under 500 teams. Okay. Let's see how they do against St. Louis.
Somebody's got to fix Tatis.
Yes.
There's 11 coaches on Craig's staff. This is supposed to be the next era of coaches, smart guys.
Get John Philip Sousa's out there, right?
Jeez.
Is he going to be the batting coach? That's the worst job in professional sports, by the way.
This is so stunning to me. So I'm presenting reality, and he's presenting it from the fans' emotional, love 'em. Friars.
Well, I'm reporting on facts, Lee.
Okay.
They're not doing as well as we would like.
But you believe everything's going to be okay.
But a lot of people said this team is terrible. This team's not making the playoffs. And I'm like, geez, they're sputtering on offense, and they're still only half a game behind the Dodgers.
With half a pitching staff, 2 and 130 games left.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, Griff Canning looked good. Okay. So, and granted, that was his first start in like a year, but he looked good. So there's a lot of little nuggets. And by the way, this Schoolcraft kid, doesn't he just remind you of Randy Johnson? Big, tall lefty. And Johnson was all over the place when he was young.
Oh, he got to Montreal. It was ridiculous. Couldn't throw strikes, but this kid they've held his hand since the middle of last summer, and I'm shocked that it's this bad.
Well, when you're that tall and you've got all these appendages and levers and everything, I mean, it's really hard to keep those mechanics in sync. So you just got to let that kid develop. And like you say, he's down in Class A. Him and Giolito are like Giolito. I still don't know what the hell is going to happen with him. Because his career had been kind of going down.
Well, injuries factored in there, but he's not the same pitcher anymore.
No, he's not. You just hope he can be serviceable as a 4 or 5 in the rotation. We may end up needing him, but clearly he needs a little bit more work down in the minors.
Padre fans forum chat box is open. Want you to hit lead off because we are baseball centric. Tell us what you think on our podcast right there. We go from all things Padres to what we're going to tell you about the Dodgers and the Angels.
Power outage and injury issues.
Let's talk about the Dodgers. Now, this is unique. They're 23-14. Somebody out here said they were going to go 162-0. Ohtani looks really fatigued at home plate. They're trying to break down on video what's wrong with Ohtani. And the theory that I come up with, because I went back and did some statistical studies, 53% of his swings, he's trying to pull the ball. He's trying to pull every freaking pitch rather than driving it towards throwing. The numbers are staggering. He's got no home runs in 19 games, no home runs in 72 at-bats, a .248 batting average during this drought. He's got 1 home run in his last 83 at-bats. And now they've decided when he pitches, he's not going to DH. There's just a fatigue factor in terms of preparation. So that's intriguing. Tyler Glasnow, dinged. I don't know if you saw the video. So he buzzes through the first inning in the start yesterday, goes out for the second inning, warms up, and comes off the mound, holding his back. Lower disc issue. They're going to send him for an MRI warming up. Blake Snell, 5th rehab start, Class A ball. He still doesn't look like he's ready. Da-da-da-da. Here comes your next closer, Brock Stewart, activated off the disabled list post-surgery. So he's coming in, just activated off the disabled list. He's not been of much use to them for almost a year, but he's now on the active roster. Quite an interesting game in Houston. Andy Pages hits 3 home runs in the game.
Hell yeah.
And Lance McCullers, the Astros starter, throws 3 wild pitches with guys on base, allowing 3 runners to score. Don't think I've ever seen that before. So the Dodgers are trying to configure Ohtani. I think it's fatigue more than it is anything else, and maybe a subset of him he's trying to pull everything. And maybe he shouldn't be doing that right now, but this is the longest home run drought of his career in L.A.
You know, you watch Ohtani swing, you know, a lot of the Japanese players, they like open up their hips earlier than a lot of American hitters, which tends to, you think, maybe it positions their body to drive the ball on a pull. But, you know, I think to your point, I think Ohtani is probably exhausted, you know, because he's pitching and he's hitting, and baseball's hard. You go through those slumps. I mean, look at Teoscar Hernandez up here. He's been in a slump too, you know, so it's just weird how the NL West there for a little while, I think all 5 teams had at least a 3-game losing streak at the same time. And so it's bizarre when we see a team like the Dodgers that are so loaded that suddenly struggle. It just almost doesn't make sense.
Are you going to recall the statement 162-0?
Oh, I don't know if I joked about that, but I thought you could easily say that they're going to win over 100 games, and it's not crazy talk to say that they were going to win 120.
Well, I said 102-60.
Yeah, and I think I said they were going to win 99. So in the end, the Dodgers are going to be fine. You know, Snell will come up, you know, but they do need to be worried about Glasnow. I mean, because his mechanics are so, you know, they're always tinkering with his mechanics. And you kind of move, you know, the left elbow bones connected to the shoulder and that whole thing.
And he does something different, it impacts somewhere else.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at. And so every time he, you know, gets into a groove, there's something's likely to fall out of whack. So hopefully he's going to be all right. But that guy's he's a talented pitcher. It's just a shame that he's had so many injuries.
I didn't cut kinesiology class the day they taught it in college.
Now, Brock Stewart, wasn't he the guy that got in a trade from the White Sox?
White Sox are twins.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the Twins.
History of shoulder and elbow. Now he's back. But how long he stays healthy remains to be seen. But there is no Diaz. So they need hands on deck right now.
What's your take on this whole rushing Dalton? He's being kind of he's a big mouth, being
yappy.
Kind of a punk, right?
Yeah, he's kind of become yappy. And all of a sudden, people are looking at him and saying, is that the Dodger way?
I mean, it's fun from my point of view because it makes the Dodgers have more villains, you know, which is kind of fun. But he's young. I'm surprised that he's popping off, you know, given that he's
dropping F-bombs at home plate.
I know.
Jeez. So anyhow, well, that's Dodger baseball. Hey, Padre fans leading off are storming to the Fans Forum chat box. Dodger fans, jump on board. A little early. We're not pushing panic buttons, but that's not a perfect team anymore. Let's talk about that. Let's move to the third team, Angels, 15-23. I think the whole situation's dire. We talked very briefly last podcast about the New York Times doing a report on Perry Maznasian, the general manager. And Manassian has just been really condescending to the media in Anaheim. And so he had to sit down. And the columnist came back and said, his optimism is not the reality that exists at the Big A. You know, they've had 6 straight losing seasons since he's been general manager. They've had 10 years in a row without being in the playoffs. And one thing I found, every time they ask Manassian a question, he responds with a question. Like, you're asking me about the depths of the injury to Yusei Kikuchi, the ace of their pitching staff.
Yeah.
And Manassian's response to your question is, depths of what injury? Well, dude's got a shoulder injury. Now they're talking he's going to be out 3 months. And your general manager says, what are you talking about, depths of the injury? That's the way Manassian's conducting his business, as if everything's fine.
That's weird.
It's not. Yeah, it's really, really weird. So he just got roasted in the New York Times. And by the way, Kikuchi's out for 3 months, and now they've activated Alex Manoah, ex-Toronto Blue Jay, who has spent 2.5 years trying to find what he was when he first got into baseball, and they've elevated him, even though on his rehab assignments, his ERA was like 8. And he's a cavalry coming to rescue your troubled pitching staff. What? They don't hit consistently outside of Mike Trout. They lead the world in strikeouts. They had a game last week. They struck out 18 times.
Whoa.
They lead the league in walks, okay, but you can't drive them home because nobody's hitting. So they got problems from top to bottom. And they got a general manager that's in just flat-out denial. And I was hoping this would not be a 100-loss season, but damn, they're on a track for a 100-loss season right now. Just terrible.
That's no big deal, really. I mean, the Angels fans, they don't care about winning. They just want to have a good family experience at the Big A.
Give me the $5 hot dog.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. This whole thing is just a freaking disaster, and then Ohapi is out, and there's been all these problems. I mean, it's just like they're a cursed franchise. It's just a shame.
Yeah, that's where we are. Angel fans, don't foul a pitch off. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. You're invited. No foul balls. Take one deep. Tell us what you think about leadership of the Angels. Next topic, baseball headlines here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, we kick it off with the Tigers.
My goodness. I thought about this deeper this morning. The Tarek Skubal surgery took place yesterday. Top free agent on the board, ace of the Tigers. They went and they found a bone chip, a bone spur. Only one, which is good, because if it had been multiples, he might have been out 3 to 6 months. They say he's going to be out 2 months. Then he'll come back. But, again, it takes time to come back from that type of scope procedure. So it's bad news with Skubal. Worse news with the suspension of Framber Valdez. The backstory is this guy's a hothead. So he's getting lit by the Boston Red Sox. He gives up back-to-back home runs. It's a 10-2 score at the point. Trevor Story comes to the plate, and he nails him in the back. After giving up back-to-back home runs, that leads to a bench-clearing incident. And anyhow, he gets suspended because this dude's a repeat offender. So he gets a 5-game suspension. They suspended the manager, A.J. Hinch, which I thought was kind of weird. Hinch criticized Valdez. And here's Detroit. No Skubal. No Casey Mize on the DL for an extended period. No Verlander's been out since the start of the season on the DL. Now Valdez is extended. The bat boy's going to have to go into the rotation and pitch. So A.J. Hinch is losing his mind in Detroit with the whole Valdez situation. Houston, this is the next place that's going to erupt. This organization has failed. Joe Espada, the manager, it's failed everybody in Houston. They got 6 pitchers on the DL. They're force-feeding Lance McCullers, who's had a history of elbow problems. He threw 3 wild pitches against the Dodgers, resulted in 3 runs yesterday, which was ridiculous. Carlos Correa, season-ending ankle surgery. He got hurt in batting practice.
Oh.
He's in BP, taking a stride, twists his ankle, tears a tendon, gone.
Whoa.
And, of course, this is an organization that did not keep Bregman, did not keep Kyle Tucker. This is bad situation. That's an organizational failure more than it is anything there in Houston. Miami, bump in the road. Chris Paddock released. He's had nothing but health issues since the Padres traded him on to the Twins.
The sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff. He had a good short run here, but he's had elbow problems, forearm problems, shoulder problems. He's been released. His ERA was almost at 7.00. So I don't know whether he's going to come back for a while. Sad note, legendary Pittsburgh Pirate outfielder, member of the 1960 Bill Mazeroski World Series team, Bob Skinner, passed away, age 94. The footnote is San Diegan. Bob Skinner grew up here, played at La Jolla.
Yeah, that's right.
Lived here forever. Lives in Pacific Beach for 88 years. He played 12 years in the majors with the Pirates, then the Cardinals. Very solid player. Then he became a coach. Then he became an interim manager. Then he became a scout. He just passed away at the age of 94. I met him one time. Nice gentleman. Very, very much revered as part of the great 1960 World Series Pittsburgh Pirate team. And one other note that just came down today. We talked about John Sterling's passing, a longtime radio voice, New York Yankees. Yankees have just announced they're going to put a patch representing John Sterling on their jersey. And it's a patch of a microphone.
Awesome.
It's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't recall the Padres having done that for Jerry Coleman.
They had the initials.
They had the initials. They didn't put a microphone, but this is really snazzy. It's got a pinstripe background with a radio microphone.
Snazzy.
Yeah, so they're going to put that on their uniforms. And Aaron Judge asked the Yankees, would you put on the PA system after we beat teams John Sterling's famous call,
The Yankees win.
And they're going to do that too.
Good.
At Yankee Stadium. And still to be determined what type of ceremony and if they're going to put a plaque in the outfield on the back wall in Monument Park.
Cool.
On behalf of John Sterling. So that's kind of cool. So you want to start with Framber Valdez throwing at people after giving up back-to-back bombs? What a red ass he is. Take it from there.
Well, Valdez was doing that last year, wasn't he? Because remember, the catcher gave him signs that he wasn't agreeing with.
He crossed the catcher up.
Yeah, he crossed him up on purpose, and so he's just a bitter guy. I do want to talk about the Astros for a minute because do you think the Astros are still stealing signs? Because there was a little bit of a controversy with Altuve and Shohei Ohtani, and Altuve was swung at some just crazy sweeper outside the zone, and the thought was that Altuve was getting tipped off that it was going to be a fastball when it wasn't, and then Ohtani gave him a glare at the end. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, I think sign stealing goes on any way possible. Now, they're not banging garbage can drums anymore. Right. But I think there's still signals out at second base that there's a man on second about this might be coming, et cetera. But the Dodgers admitted, I think, after the game that they changed up what was being called.
Good.
So that's Houston's a mess. My goodness gracious, just terrible. Okay, that's all things baseball. You still got a chance to join us with an opinion on any of the topics we put on the table, or if there's something else you want to make a comment on, Fans Forum chat box is open. We got baseball, and now we got basketball because we're in the midst of the playoffs. Pay attention, people.
Yeah, Lakers, Thunder, blowouts continue.
Oh, my goodness. OKC has now ripped the Lakers 5 straight. Average margin of victory is like 28 points per game in the Oklahoma City wins over the Lakers. And this is just not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a.k.a. SGA. This is Chet Holmgren. They're doing this without the other explosive guy in the lineup, Jalen Williams, but they're doing it with a huge bench bunch that really plays well. And when they're not doing it to you, pushing the ball up the floor and scoring, they're doing it at the other end of the floor. Chokehold defense. 17 more turnovers. The Lakers in games against OKC are averaging 19 turnovers a game.
Wow.
The Lakers. We're not talking about Sacramento. We're talking about the Lakers are turning it over.
That's some good defense.
Yeah, 17 turnovers. They had 7 block shots of the Lakers. Austin Reeves and Marcus Smart, whom they need to shoot and score, could not breathe and could not get open and could not hit shots. They went a combined 7 for 31 in the first game. And they're gonna have to play better tonight in Game 2. And the answer? MIA. DeAndre Ayton, Luke Kennard. Totally disappeared against Oklahoma City. And by the way, Austin Reeves, since he's come back from the oblique, shooting 30% from the floor, 14 for 46.
Wow.
I say he doesn't look right. He doesn't look healthy. And then, by the way, whatever his condition is, he's got to do it against Oklahoma City's defense. So that's big trouble for the Lakers. I'm going to insult some people here. Should I say this? Should I say this? Lakers, synonymous with the word dynasty. From the glory days of West and Baylor and Wilt through Kareem, Magic, Showtime, Kobe, Shaq. Lakers, dynasty. Changing of the guard. New dynasty, those guys, OKC. And they're doing it with young studs. They're doing it with multiples of draft picks that they've made deals on. And you look at their roster, John, there is not any marquee veteran free agent from anywhere at a ridiculous salary on their payroll. They're doing it with kids.
Wow.
So that was Laker dynasty. This may be OKC dynasty. Go ahead.
Where's Luka? Is he coming back?
Luka has had to defend himself as to why he's been out so long, which I think is a stupid question. You have to trust the team doctors. He admitted that he went to Spain and he stayed in Spain. He had 4 plasma plate injections in 16 days. And he still can't do basketball-related stuff because of the severity of the hamstring injury. And every time you have a plasma platelet injection, you need to take 4 days off. You cannot do basketball-related therapy stuff. So he had 4 injections, which that's a stunning amount in a 16-day window. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to come back if there's another series. But the way the Lakers play against these guys, I don't think there's going to be another series. But I think that's shameful to just mock him and ask him, why the hell are you out? Significant injury. He went to Spain because a treatment program that was offered in that country seems to work for a lot of other athletes. But
yeah, I was going to ask you about that because we're seeing a lot of athletes go to Spain or Germany for these exotic healthcare things. I wonder why they can do it in Europe and not in America.
I think some of it's approved in Europe where it's not necessarily approved here. But it doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a different approach. But I think it's shameful for the media to be bashing on this guy's injuries. You don't know the extent of the injury. Doctors know the extent of the injury. And the fact that the Lakers approved and allowed him to go to Spain, and it may well be that he's been treated in Spain before. But this is significant. 4 plasma injections, that's an awful lot. Okay, that's NBA basketball. Now, quickly, notebook. There's a lot of stuff going on off the floor, John.
Yeah, the draft lottery. Are they finally figuring this out?
Yeah, well, first of all, the NBA lottery, as we know it, is going to be this Sunday.
Cool.
Okay. Now, the other NBA lottery proposal, the 3-2-1 lottery, which is getting a lot of blowback again.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's not going to be voted on until the end of May. So this lottery will be structured the way it's been in the past. So you're sitting here with some of the really ugly teams in the league. You got Indiana, which was wrecked by injuries, Washington, which has been plagued by incompetence, Utah, wrecked by injuries, the Brooklyn Nets, who can never get it right, and Sacramento, a perennial loser. Those are the hottest teams in the run for the top draft picks. And the top draft pick, obviously, is Cam Boozer from Duke, and the top draft pick might be a big array of guards. But I think you're gonna see whoever gets picks 1 and 2 are probably going to draft bigs with the draft lottery. Draft lottery is Sunday night, so you want to pay attention to that. The NBA just ruled on the Clippers, not the Kawhi Leonard investigation, but there was a huge question about what happens in the first round of the draft. Indiana owes the Clippers a number 1 pick by virtue of the Zubac trade at the deadline. If Indiana gets in the lottery and gets picks 1, 2, 3, or 4, Indiana keeps the pick. The pick then is transferred to a year from now. But if Indiana doesn't cash in, if the pick goes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, goes to L.A.
That's weird.
Clippers, what was called a protected pick.
Okay.
Clippers desperately need to have Indiana not win the lottery, have the pick fall to number 5. So we'll keep an eye on that, see what happens on Sunday. Milwaukee Bucks ownership group getting ready for the draft says we have to have a decision on Giannis. If Giannis wants to be traded, he must tell us now he's going to invoke the no-trade clause, clear it from the books, and let us make the best deal possible that he would accept. They want a decision from Giannis. They need new direction in Milwaukee because it's been such a bad situation. Dallas, they hired Majuri, the former president of basketball operations who built Toronto into an NBA power. Majuri just came on board last week as the new president of ops for Dallas. He's going to sit and he's going to evaluate Jason Kidd. There's not a guarantee that Jason Kidd's going to keep that job. They've had a lot of roster turmoil, a lot of problems there. Yes, they got Cooper Flagg. Obviously, they've had terrible problems at guard with injuries, and they've had a lot of injuries to their bigs. But Jason Kidd does not have a job guarantee going forward, so that could happen in the next couple of weeks. And one last-minute note that just broke. Damn, you got your way. NCAA, at noon, voted to approve March Madness goes to 76.
Right on.
24 teams will now be in the play-in game. And evidently the structure is everybody that comes from a one-bid league has to play in the play-in game, and they'll have to play against a team, an 11th or 12th place team from a major conference who's got 15 or 16 losses. That's going to be the play-in game. They watered it down. It loses.
It's still fine.
according to you.
Yeah, it's going to be better.
You who dresses like the way you do, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So, okay, go ahead. Comment. Take it from the top of the lottery and go from there.
A question on the lottery. Are we going to see ping pong balls? Are we going to see envelopes and a bingo machine?
No, I think we're going to see ping pong balls and...
Okay.
So there's a lot of bad basketball teams. There's 5 basketball teams that just had gruesome seasons this year for a wide variety, and we've talked extensively about why the hell they're so bad. But this is a really cool draft. I mean, there are 2 to 3 bigs, and then there's a load of star guards led by the kid from Kansas, Darren Patterson. But there's a load of guards, but there's a couple of bigs.
Probably a bunch of Euros too, right?
Some, not that many. Not that many that we're aware of at this point in time, but Cam Boozer is obviously probably going to be the prize, so we'll see where he winds up. So late Sunday afternoon, draft lottery, it'll be fun to see. And again, the Clippers are right there on the periphery if they can get Indiana's pick at 5.
Did you see Draymond Green? It was on the pregame show talking to Barkley.
Really barking at Barkley.
Yeah, he was. And it was basically kind of dissing him that when he was with the Rockets, he wasn't all that.
Yeah,
but he was. He was a hell of a player with the Rockets.
He was, but Barkley ever win bleep? No.
Yeah, they made the finals that one year when he was with the Suns. Yeah. But, yeah, he had never won a ring.
Yeah, and he's barking at Draymond Green. Give it up. Era's over.
Well, he's right.
Light's gone out. Oh, come on, Charles. Treat the guy with some dignity. The guy's been in the league a long time. He's a really good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. But, it's true. I mean, that's why Steph and Kerr and Green had that big hug at the end of their final game. So it's an end of an era with the Warriors. But it was I just was surprised that Draymond Green was really unaware of how good of a player that Charles Barkley is. I mean, it's fun to make fun of him because he's such a goofball on that set, with Kenny the Jet and Ernie Johnson and Shaq, but he was a hell of a player. I mean, you got to give it up for Charles Barkley. He was on the Dream Team.
He was a warrior, I agree. But he lectures everybody about everything, and last I checked, I don't see any rings on a guy's hand.
Well, he played for the Sixers. They're cursed.
Yeah, for sure on that. Okay, that's all things basketball. If you got an opinion to our opinions, Fans Forum chat box is open. We get to halftime. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations in San Diego to serve you. Tell you what, we've talked extensively about their tool section. This podcast is driven by men who watch this podcast, and I bet there's a hell of a lot of you guys that do projects at home. John, take it from there. Talk to the guy in the garage. Talk to the guy in the basement. Talk to the guy doing stuff on the back patio.
DIXIELINE's slogan is build it, fix it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that really sums it up. I mean, because they provide lumber and building materials that builders and contractors use to do, remodels, to install doors and windows, to upgrade homes, and also to build homes. But, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you need to fix something, you got to get some new door locks or, some hinges for your kitchen cabinets, you need to do a little repair around the house. They've got it, too. And in the end, you want to enjoy it. You want to enjoy your home. And they've got a great outdoor living section, not only the decking, but, they've got the you ever seen those Traeger barbecues,
sure.
Those smokers? They've got all of those there, and they got all the cool patio furniture. So you want to set up your home to enjoy it, then DIXIELINE's got that too. Build it, fix it, enjoy it.
Do they have enough tools for those of us who have 2 left hands and 2 left feet?
I don't know. Well, do you do any do-it-yourself repair, or do you just kind of hire that out?
Past tense, hire it out now.
Okay, yeah.
That's after repeated failures.
Okay. Well, it's fun because we have contractors here at our house too, and I'll say, you getting the lumber from DIXIELINE? And they always say, yeah, they are. And I'm like, right on.
DIXIELINE Lumber. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer, especially in their tools section. Just a couple of program notes. When we are done with this podcast, we open it up to you to become part of this podcast. We're looking for first-timers who've never participated. Just type in your name and say, number 1, so we'll know that you're new to the podcast. It's called Fans Forum. John, how do people on the live stream and any of the platforms, how do they get on Fans Forum right now?
I see a new name in there, UnoSo95. That's a new guy that we've never had on board. So, yeah, if you got a question or comment for Hacksaw in the world of sports, drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, Facebook, or X. We'll get you involved. A lot of our regulars are there, but like you say, we'd love to see some new names and faces.
And a reminder, I write about sports every day of the week. Have you ever sampled my website? Do you like my website? Somebody tell me. Give me thumbs up. Give me thumbs down. I spend a lot of time. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. I write the best 15 minutes in sports. It's there first thing every morning. I write a column every night. You got to read my column today on all things Ted Turner. But I want you to sample. And also, when you go to the website, by the way, it's newly designed, brand new layout. Take a look because it's not just the written content. Now, this guy has decided we're putting videos up on my podcast that you can sample anytime, day or night. Have you ever been to the website? Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, tell me what you like, etc. Also, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, we also ask you to help us grow this thing. Thumbs up. Hit the follow button or give us a 5-star rating on Apple. It really helps us. Find that thumbs up button and bang it for us, will you? We do that too. I want you to join me on social media. I'm on X, on Twitter. I want you to be part of my Twitter All-Star team. Has something changed on Twitter? Because I'm not getting the responses now, even though I got 10,000 followers on Twitter. I'm not getting the responses to my mini poll I used to get. Is something gone different?
Elon Musk is always jacking around the algorithm, so... but yeah, I mean, your poll questions are usually pretty good, and so it's nice when the fans are on board checking the box.
Yeah, so follow me on X. Just go Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Follow or hit @Hacksaw1090. Hit the follow button. We're pushing hard. We're trying to grow this thing. We have over 10,000 subscribers just to the YouTube channel, etc.
20,000 on Instagram.
John does all the metrics. So thank you for being part of us, and you can help us grow this thing even farther. Okay, we go to the second half because we have covered baseball, we've covered basketball, now news and notes, a whole bunch of other places.
Quarterback issues, starting with the Jets.
They don't have a quarterback yet. I mean, they're renting Geno Smith this season. Last night, they offered Russell Wilson a 1-year contract. Now, Russell Wilson is trying to decide, should I be a backup? If I go to the Jets, will you guys let me compete for the starting job with Geno Smith? Or should I take this job at CBS TV and just venture away? Russell Wilson still thinks he's got gas left in the tank. It's up to him to decide what road he's going to take. Nice mess in Arizona. I don't understand this. Months ago, Arizona Cardinals decided they trade Kyler Murray. They're going to let Jacoby Brissett be the starting quarterback. Now, he started last season when Murray was on IR, but he went 1-11. Now, they've already announced he's the guy. He's not coming to the OTA camps. He wants his contract renegotiated and up. The guy was 1-11. He wants a pay raise from $9 million to $25 million because I'm going to be a starter. He might not be a starter now because Arizona says no. They put him on the trading block last night. Now, as a backup quarterback, I think he's solid. Somebody starter? Nah. $25 million? Definitely not. And they just drafted Carson Beck from the Miami Hurricanes and the University of Georgia. That's a really weird story in Arizona. Why would Brissett do that to himself? Pittsburgh. Guess who's flying into Pittsburgh tonight?
Aaron Rodgers?
He's going to meet with them.
Wow.
Now, I was told he is offended that they put a tender tag on his contract, which limits how much he can make. But Pittsburgh did that. So if anybody came in at the last minute, like Arizona, for example, and wanted to rent him, they get draft pick compensation. Either Rodgers wants to play or doesn't want to play. He can't be jerking around the rules of the NFL. What Pittsburgh did to tender him at a late minute to guarantee some draft pick compensation, that's legitimate. Anyhow, Aaron Rodgers is meeting with the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight. Maybe this will be the end of the soap opera. They're starting their mini camps tomorrow. So I would tend to think maybe AR is going to come back and play another year because they don't have any other quarterbacks. They just don't. And they have. I think Pittsburgh's operating in the 19th century in terms of acquisitions and how to do business and who they should have drafted, et cetera. It's hard because I know all about this because I live with a Steeler fan, and she's crazy.
Yes, she is.
She's really just off the charts. So anyhow, you want to talk quarterbacks? Go ahead.
Russell Wilson, the last time I saw him, he was playing for the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah.
And he's no longer like a lean, athletic guy,
He's got a lot of miles on him. He's had a really nice career, but
that's what the Jets have been doing. They get in all these retreads. What is Aaron Glenn's strategy? Is he thinking, well, I'm going to, have my offensive and defensive lines. I'm going to, we're going to draft talent there, and I'm just going to get a veteran here to manage the game?
Is it 2027 yet?
I know. I don't understand what the Jets are doing.
What's the year of the quarterback? Next year's the quarterback. They got 3 number ones.
Okay. Well, they're going to get Arch Manning, or I don't know.
They're going to get somebody pretty good because I don't think they're going to be real good on the field, which means that equates to a high draft pick.
Yeah, well, maybe they can, pick up Pavia from the Ravens or something. There's just no hope with the Jets. It's just so meh.
Well, but they had so many draft picks this year, and they've creatively traded for 3 number ones next year. So it may be they turn the corner a lot quicker if they get the right quarterback. This is a 1-year rental.
Okay. Now speaking of backup quarterbacks, what do you think about Malik Willis? He's going to be the number 1 for the Dolphins. You see how he threw out a first pitch and couldn't throw the ball correctly at the Marlins games? But, do you think Malik Willis is going to be a legit, number 1 player in the NFL?
Has hardly played. Didn't play much in Tennessee. Was a backup in Green Bay. But when they asked him to play after Jordan Love got hurt, he was pretty competitive. But he's been thrown into a bad situation. So he got the payday to go to Miami. I think it was a 3-year contract. He'll be the starter in Miami, but Miami's in mass rebuild. I just don't think they got a very good team down there. So he'll go through the learning curve, and he's going to get beat up a little bit, and we'll see if he can handle. But he's now 5 years in to his career in terms of being a student of the game, and he is a really good athlete. So we'll find out. But he's been running for his life. He's going to need to be an athlete running for his life behind that offensive front without a lot of skill people.
Yeah, that organization's kind of a mess. They got Chris Johnson. He's going to play some corner there.
Yep.
He'll probably start as a rookie, don't you think?
That's a great situation for the ex-Aztec. I said that on draft day. That's a great situation. Bad team? Sure. He's going to play a lot of snaps. And so he'll go through a learning curve too. But he's a young athlete, student of the game, and great landing place. And he's going to have to play early because they drafted him in the first round.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, those are headlines in the National Football League. Feel free, jump on board. We go from that. We're going to talk about why we're dressed the way we're dressed.
Hockey Hotline, playoffs and lottery.
Oh, I can't turn the damn TV off. And it's so cool. Do you know the NHL TV ratings have gone up 43%?
Yeah.
Why? Well, the product is cool. There's a lot of teams that have now arrived with the young players. The other thing, every game in the NHL playoffs for the first time is on network TV. It's on my TV right now. We go from the 4:30 game, and as soon as that game is over, there's a 7:30 game. And if it's not on TNT or ESPN, it's on TBS, and you just go boom, boom, boom.
Or ABC.
And ABC. So, it is really cool, and that's why the ratings have gone up. Now, let's talk about the Ducks. Playoffs, baby. Tell you, the Ducks Las Vegas series, this is really good hockey. This is skate, positional hockey, attack the net. Goaltenders are making a ton of saves along the way. And for the Ducks standpoint, they lose a heartbreaker in the first game in Vegas, come back and win last night in Vegas. Christian Gauthier, Leo Carlson, and the guys on the third and fourth line, the veterans, they're all storming the net, and they're all scoring goals. And now the Ducks have taken home ice advantage away from Vegas, and the Ducks come home tomorrow night. Tell you, the Anaheim Honda Center used to be the Pond. It is going to be crazy. You can't buy a ticket. Ducks hockey is everything right now that Angel baseball is no longer.
Yeah.
It's called Orange Country. The Ducks own the market. So this is so cool. They lost for so long. They went 8 years without winning a home playoff game. 2006 is a long time ago. That was when they raised the Stanley Cup. The John Sebastian Giguère era, Timo Solani and all those guys. They have finally arrived. What's going on with these guys is really impressive. Force-fed all the kids, made unique trades to get chemistry guys, signed some free agents, and at the trade deadline added more veterans to the mix. They've got every base covered with an ex-San Diego Gull, Lucas Dostal, in goal, who's making some huge, monstrous saves at the most important time of the year. So this Ducks series with Vegas, this is really good hockey. It's not hooliganism. It is end-to-end systems hockey. Two really good coaches led by Joel Kenville, the Ducks head coach. So that's one story. Second story is Montreal. End-to-end action, but they've not been able to beat Buffalo. And that was a struggle last night. Could have won it, should have won it. Montreal outshot Buffalo on their ice, hit 3 posts. There were 5 pucks in the crease in mad scrambles with the goaltender down. Ducks didn't put any of them into the net. More than anything, Montreal didn't put the puck in the net. It was all in the crease. Montreal has to get goals from Caulfield and Suzuki. They're big goal scorers. That's yet to happen. For every team that's had a great run in the playoffs to start, there's the misfits in the league. Vancouver, they wrecked this franchise. Now the president of the Vancouver Canucks, the Hall of Fame goaltender Jim Rutherford, resigned yesterday. He's 77 years of age. This after they fired the general manager and fired the coach. This situation is a real disaster in Vancouver. And then on top of it, not only did they wreck the franchise, gut the roster, they had the worst record in the league, they didn't get the number 1 pick. That takes us to Toronto. Speaking of the word misfit, chaos. I've been involved in a lot of press conferences. I've never heard a press conference like this one. Toronto fired its general manager a couple weeks ago. They supposedly interviewed 27 different people to become GM of the Maple Leafs. Historic franchise, wealthiest franchise. Still got a whole cornerstone group of players on the roster. They hired a guy by the name of John Shaka. He was the general manager of the Arizona Coyotes who lost his job for violating rules, was suspended for more than a year, and nobody would touch him. Anyhow, at the press conference where they introduced him, one of my friends, Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun columnist, stood up and said, I did a survey. I asked 20 executives in the NHL about John Shaka. 19 of the 20 had negative things to say. And would you please tell me why Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment hired this guy to be the general manager? The press conference was stunned at the hostility of the question. He's a used car salesman, slick Ivy Leaguer, always got a wise-ass answer, and he's never accomplished crap. And you ask people in Arizona about this guy when he was general manager with the Coyotes before they wound up moving to Utah, and he got hired by Toronto. I mean, it was absolutely stunning. And then, on top of all the mess with the Maple Leafs, NHL lottery, they get the first pick in the draft.
Hey.
And I thought of you.
Me?
The minute they took the ping pong ball out and it had the Maple Leaf logo on it, I immediately flashed back to New York Knicks, envelope, lottery, Patrick Ewing.
The frozen ping pong ball.
Unbelievable. So the Maple Leafs get the number 1 pick. So now everybody across Canada, including the people in Vancouver, are just losing their mind over this situation. And by the way, TV ratings, that's why the ESPN logo is up there. Do you know the 7th game between Montreal and Tampa Bay drew 2.3 million viewers, all-time record.
Nice.
And average for every playoff game it's on TV here just in the States, 1.2 million, all-time high. So the product is different. We got some really good young teams that are now taking a step forward, like Montreal, like the Ducks, like Buffalo. And the fact that every game's on cable, not on streaming.
Right.
Your NBA has taken marquee games, John, and put them on streaming. Now, unless you subscribe to Amazon and Prime, you're missing some of the really unique games in the NBA playoffs because the league is just taking money, which I think is a disservice to
the
John
world's
Buchanan.
changing, Lee.
I know the world's changing.
You still can't use rabbit ears with tinfoil on them.
So, anyhow, that's all things hockey. I just thought we'd honor the arrival. The Ducks have come back. That's why I'm dressed the way I am and why he's wearing his commemorative Ducks jersey.
You know, I love this logo. I mean, the Ducks logo, this one right here is just so much better than the webbed, foot.
Yes.
But I do like how the Ducks really have embraced orange. For Orange County, you know.
Orange Country.
Orange Country. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, are the Canadians the only Canadian team left in the playoffs? I think they are.
Yes.
Yeah, so, but they're having a hell of a run, you know, so that's been great. Now, Vancouver, I'm trying to get my facts straight. Was it the Canucks or the Whitecaps that were considering moving out of Vancouver?
That's the soccer team, the Vancouver Whitecaps, who have a stadium problem. No, there's nothing wrong from a business perspective with the Vancouver Canucks. What's wrong is leadership and what the hell they did to their roster. A couple of years ago, they were really good. Thatcher Demko and all those guys.
Yeah.
And virtually everybody's gone. They ran off Rick Tocchet. Rick Tockett's Philadelphia Flyers team still in the playoffs. Oh, there's so many bullet points. If I was working in Canada at this hour, I'd be losing my mind.
You and Don Cherry?
Yeah.
Would you like to be on that hockey night in Canada?
Oh, yeah.
You'd be up there on the studio set?
I'll tell you what, I watched the ESPN pregame, in between period, postgame shows, and they're trying to do a version of Hockey Night in Canada and say the absurd under the way Don Cherry and Ron McLean used to do it, but. I mean, the hockey telecasts are really cool, and the fact that these games are timed perfectly, I can go from this channel to that channel to this channel and watch all these games collectively.
Right on.
Okay, hockey fans, O Canada Network, who north of the border is with us? Jump on board. You want to talk about some of these hot topics? You got something else to add? Fans Forum chat box is open for business. We got a lot of topics here. Next topic.
Yeah, we got to talk about the PGA and LIV golf. Are these guys coming back to the PGA?
I'll tell you what, this conversation is overwhelming the tournaments that are being played right now. We'll go to the big board because the guys on the LIV tour, they feel like they're stuck. This is not positive, but this is the reality. DeChambeau's contract expires with LIV. They're negotiating to keep him. He doesn't want to take a pay cut. The PIF, Public Investment Fund, says we're not funding this anymore to the tune of the amount of money we lost. Now DeChambeau says, if I tried to come back, I expect severe PGA penalties. Why? Because my name was on the antitrust lawsuit that we filed when this thing first started. So he thinks there's going to be retribution from the PGA if he and 10 other guys who signed that document try to come back. John Rahm, his response is almost the same. He says, there's no way out of this LIV. They're not going to release me from my multi-year contract, and the PGA won't accept me back. And Rahm says, I don't want to pay a $5 million reentry fee like Brooks Koepka did. So we got guys now that are stuck over there. They can't come back. And there's a lot of intimations from guys here on the PGA Tour, John, to say, we're not going to let them back. They filed an antitrust lawsuit against us. How can we let those guys just walk back in the door? And John Riley says,
they took a risk, you know, and now they're feeling the pain of that risk.
They got a payday.
Yeah, they got a payday, so they're going to be fine financially.
Blood money.
They're not, yeah, and they're not going to be in the limelight. Did you see DeChambeau said, well, you know, if I'm not playing golf, I'll just work on my YouTube channel, try to expand my audience, just like you are.
Yeah, but I haven't gotten any money.
Yeah, you're not getting paid by the Saudis.
This sucker is not solvable.
They just need to let him back in. I mean, yeah, there's a penalty of some form. Just pay the penalty, kiss and make up, and let's bring them all back to the PGA.
It sounds easy, but you got guys say, I'm not paying $5 million to go back to my tour. And the PGA says, yes, you are, because Koepka already agreed to it.
Yeah, well, the precedent's been set, so, you know, that's what they got to do.
Golf fans, join us. Got an opinion about PGA, LIV. Feel free. Jump on board. We go from that. Next topic. Woo, here we go.
High-speed SportsWire. WTA. Is this the women's tour?
This is the women's tour. This story came out of nowhere, and this story has got momentum. You know, obviously, the Wimbledon and the U.S. Open are always front and center for those of us who like tennis, follow tennis, really impressed by the big events of tennis. But there are other tournaments, the French Open, the Spanish Open, the Italian Open, that are really good. The women's tour, the stars, led by Aryna Sabalenka, Coco Gauff, and others, are discussing boycotting the Grand Slam events because they don't think the women are getting anywhere near enough in total purse prize money as compared to the Alcaraz, the Sinners, and the men. And they're talking about boycotting maybe as soon as a week from now, French Open, Spanish Open. Interesting story. See where that one goes. Formula One. I'm going to preface this by asking this question. I follow auto racing. It's under my umbrella like all the other sports items are. Do any of you on this live stream follow auto racing, IndyCar, NASCAR, or the fast arrival of Formula One? Should we be covering this, or are we wasting our time covering this? We've never, in the fans forum chat box, we have never had an auto racing response on Formula One. And there's like stories every week.
We've had some, but it's been a while.
Yeah. Anyhow, here's the latest. We all know about the controversy with the engines. The 2026 car radically changed. Drivers are very unhappy, very uncomfortable. All kinds of mechanical flaws with it. The battery situation with the cars and the engine display. And then there's Max Verstappen from Team Red Bull, who bitches every week. And now people just got their arms up. They say enough with everything that Max Verstappen, the superstar, says about the sport. Juan Pablo Montoya in Spain this week. Rip Verstappen says he is damaging F1's historical reputation. He continues to denigrate the sport on a weekly basis. It is time for F1's leadership to park him, which means ban him from racing.
Wow.
Because he just continues this diatribe every Sunday about what's wrong with the sport. Meanwhile, they went 5 weeks and they made changes to the engine structure, the power plant units, as they went into the Miami Grand Prix. Lando Norris, one of the current stars, says, changed nothing in the car. Racing is still dangerous. Racing is still erratic. Lewis Hamilton from Ferrari goes public. He says, we deserve a seat at the table. You're going to make changes in the car. You need to have the drivers have input. The owners have input in the changes of the car. You can't do this on your own pedestal. Oscar Piastri, last year's legendary young star, you've taken the best cars and made them into the worst cars that we have to drive on the tour. Meanwhile, interesting report. Mercedes team owners this week confirmed to Reuters they are now going to propose F1 go back to V8 engines, get rid of the V6 hybrids, go to the V8 with all the horsepower, but it would take them till 2030 to be able to do it. But they have the ownership. Could it be an ownership vote? They could force F1 to make a change in the engines. Meanwhile, really sad story. John and I have talked about Andretti, Team Cadillac, the new team in F1, really behind the power curve. Meanwhile, one of the drivers they hired was Val Bottas. Val Bottas came from Mercedes. He was a teammate of Lewis Hamilton. He wrote a column in the Players Tribune website in which he talked about his own mental health, depression to the point of almost having a nervous breakdown. And he said, being a teammate of Lewis Hamilton nearly broke me. It was entitled Born Crazy. I read it. It was wow. But he said the mental health issue has now been solved. But he said I had to get out, and I was never going to race again because of what I experienced there at Mercedes with Lewis Hamilton. And a really sad story. I'll mention the name. I don't know if you recall the name. Alex Zanardi, really good Formula One driver, came to Indy, had some success there. Was involved in a horrific accident in F1, double amputee. Nearly took his life. Anyhow, he regained his life as a double amputee. He became a Paralympic gold medal winner in wheeling. Age 59, passed away. Huge funeral 2 days ago. Really great gentleman. I interviewed him one time when he was running IndyCar. What a tragic story. Making something out of himself. You quote the word they used at the funeral, symbol of strength.
Oh, nice.
It's really a hell of a story. So we got that. Quick other note. Soccer. FIFA. Man, they are rampaging. The fans in the U.S. are rampaging over the ticket prices for Team USA versus Paraguay in the first match. Ticket prices have been elevated. They've sold out like 41% of the tickets, and FIFA's still asking $2,000 to $4,000 per ticket for the first game, USA. They're calling it monumental betrayal of the U.S. soccer fans. And we had another soccer game at home for SDFC. They're going to face a 6-2-1 Seattle Sounder team on Saturday. And suddenly, SDFC, it looks like an ill-fitting roster. It looks like people have figured them out, the style of play. Obviously, they've made roster changes. They may have goaltending problems right now. They're winless in their last 9 matches. This is SDFC, who captured the fancy of everybody in San Diego last year. They are 0-7-2. So, John, talk about the WTA, talk all things Formula One.
You know, this WTA story about the women not getting paid as much as the men is the same story we've been hearing in the WNBA. We've been hearing about it in women's pro soccer, and it's all part of this sort of equity movement in throughout society, right?
AKA Title IX.
Well, yeah, but you know, Title IX is one thing, but the pay grade is a whole other thing because the revenue is different between the men and the women. The sponsorships, I think, are different, aren't they? Well, maybe some of these Grand Slams, does the title sponsor cover both the men's and women's side?
Play simultaneously.
They do? So it's just, like, I get that you want to boycott and make a point about getting paid more. But it's not, you have no leverage. You know, I mean, it's, if Coco Gauff decides not to show up to play in the French Open, the French Open organizer is just going to go, oh, well, you know, and they're going to bring up some other one to fill her spot.
Except if the top 10 all refuse to play, then what do you have?
Well, it hasn't gotten to that. I mean,
we're headed there.
Well,
that's what Sabalenka said at the press conference.
But it's not going to get that far along. And it's not like there's an alternative place they can go. You know, that you know, if you're not getting, like in a regular job, if you're not getting paid what you think your value is, you can always get another job that will hopefully pay you more. So, I mean, I understand that they want equity, but sometimes I think that the things that they ask for are not necessarily realistic, given, especially like when you're looking at soccer and basketball, where they're not all part of the same tournament, right? You know, it's a separate TV deal, a separate everything. So I just go back to the days of women's tennis. I mean, I grew up watching, you know, Chris Evert and Martina, and I mean, those are great times then, but I'd imagine even back then the women weren't paid as much as the men.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting to see if this where it goes. Are you bitching about F1?
There's just a bunch of snowflakes over there, man. I mean, they're just like whiners, you know? And you know, yeah, Verstappen's got a big mouth, but, you know, there's dudes that have big mouths in all the sports. It's just that there's just something about F1 that they're very delicate, you know? And we think of auto racers in America as being like these tough, good old boy redneck guys.
And they're kind of psycho.
They are, yeah. But it's just like the F1 guys are just, they're being like too dainty, too easily offended. And
they do whine.
They whine, yeah. So I'm just tired of them.
Okay. That's all things there. Last topic on the table. If I mention his name, what's your response?
Ted Turner? The mouth of the South and history.
Let's talk about this guy for just a minute. If I mention Ted Turner to you, what hot button does it hit? He viewed himself as the mouth of the South. He was dynamic. He was diverse. Wow. He founded CNN. He debuted CNN as a cable channel with live coverage, live play-by-play of the Gulf War.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the whole world remembers that. He invented WTBS. You do remember Atlanta Braves baseball all times of the day and night on your TV. He created TNT and TMC. He bought all the movie packages from MGM Theatrics and put them on his cable channels,
nice.
The movie channels. You're a big Casablanca fan. He built the Cartoon Network.
Nice.
He went through Disney and obtained a lot of that programming and their philosophy of how to do this. He bought the Atlanta Braves. He won a World Series. Purchased the Atlanta Hawks, prevented them from moving to another NBA city. Saved the NHL Atlanta Thrashers, though the franchise eventually wound up going to Winnipeg. He conquered the America's Cup with Courageous. You remember that? He founded the Goodwill Games, which is the antithesis of the greed-laden IOC and the Olympics. He signed baseball's first big free agent Andy Messersmith.
Wow.
He was at war with Bowie Kuhn constantly. He tried to manage the Atlanta Braves in the dugout wearing a suit. Managed one game, and Kuhn barred him from doing that.
I remember that.
Yep. But his accomplishments, the inventory of his accomplishments, are just everywhere. He became a global source of inspiration, backed NATO, supported all things United Nations. He donated $1 billion to feed the hungry.
$1 billion?
In Africa. He met with presidents of the United States. He met with Putin. He met with Castro. He met with the Pope. He also married Hanoi Jane Fonda. Risk taker, a belief in journalism, belief in freedom of speech, and big investment. You know, the big three networks that operated it back in the day, ABC, NBC, CBS, they referred to CNN as the chicken noodle network, that they would never succeed. Well, how does that work out now when there's a big event globally that you want to find out about? Where do you go?
CNN.
You got it.
Yeah.
Visionary, rogue, gambler, entrepreneur, nutcase, trailblazer, swashbuckler. He created the image of the superstation. He viewed himself as Captain Outrageous. Unique man. Did not care about profit-loss statements, only cared about the next challenge, next opportunity in life. Media mogul, Dixie-born sports fan, Renaissance man. That's really what he was. Maybe the most unique man in business, in sports, in the media, I think we've ever crossed paths with. Probably never, ever see it again. Ted Turner, man for all seasons. I interviewed him one time, way back in the day, when he owned the Atlanta Braves. And I thought he was off the charts. Ask him a question, boom, go off on tangents. Just a very different person. Passes away in Montana at the age of 87. God, what a really unique human being. Response.
Yeah, he did have that big ranch out there, didn't he? He was buying a lot of land out there. You know, I'll tell you what, it's fashionable these days to hate billionaires, right? But Ted Turner was a billionaire. Ted Turner, to me, is an American hero. I mean, just his entrepreneurial, swagger, just the way he goes out there and just creates things and builds, TV networks and builds, these sports franchises. I remember I was a teenager and I was over at this girl I was dating in high school, and her dad was watching the Braves on TV, and it was WTBS. And I remember I was just blown away that a Major League Baseball team could have televised every game. I mean, and to me, that was, I mean, I literally came out of my skin. And because, like, when I was growing up, the Giants were on TV maybe, 2 or 3 times a month, if that. Every game. And then eventually San Diego got Channel 4 Padres, and then we got that about a decade later in the early 90s. I mean, Ted Turner. Yeah, I mean, CNN. You're right. Like CNN, the first Gulf War. I always thought it was so funny that like Wolf Blitzer was the anchor, and what a great name if you're covering a war. Yep. Wolf Blitzer, bless his heart, he's still going strong. But yeah, I mean, you look at all those logos. I mean, wrestling, the Thrashers, the Hawks, TBS, TNT, Turner Classic Movies. Yeah,
and he was more than just a media mogul. What he did globally.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of his support of the United Nations and NATO, and obviously what he did from a philanthropic thing, just an amazing human being.
It was cool to watch him and Jane Fonda at the Braves games. And the Braves had that great run in the 90s, and Ted Turner's doing the tomahawk chop, which is, people probably frown on that these days. But it's just neat to see a owner that's a legit fan, and is all in to win. And it was kind of fun that he tried to manage that one time, and it's a lot harder than he probably thought it was. Yeah. But good on him. And let's talk mustaches for a minute. I mean, because you're a mustache guy. He had a cool looking mustache. I always thought he had a unique look to Ted Turner. So Yeah, he's one of the greats.
Yeah, very, very unique individual. You got an opinion on Ted Turner, what he represented? What do you remember most about him? Fans Forum chat box is open. We have really covered an absolute ton of information today. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations to serve you in San Diego. Got projects. They got materials. Build it, fix it. You will enjoy it in 2026. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. It's time for you now to take over this podcast. Before you do, because we do this for free, the only requirement is you hit the thumbs up button. You hit the follow button. You give us a 5-star rating on Apple. That's the only requirement. Now it's your turn to bring something to the table to talk about hot topics, talk about the way we're dressed because we're honoring Ducks hockey and the NHL playoffs. John, these are your people. Take it over.
Yeah, my people. All right, let's go here to Teamer. Hey, the Angels surprisingly won the series against the White Sox.
But that's the Blight Sox. And Chicago's going to have good games and bad games, and Chicago doesn't have enough players. And, yeah, the Angels won 2 of 3. But look at the makeup of the roster. And I think the bigger issue is if you just pay attention to the general manager, Perry Manasian, and you don't understand the rationale of why he's responding and conducting business the way he is. And then the bigger question is you got the owner. What is Arte Moreno doing, and why is he acting this way? And are we looking at another 100-loss season, 90-loss season? Definitely going to be a non-playoff season. Are we making any progress here at all?
Man, the Angels. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the White Sox. Murakami, the guy strikes out like 40% of the time. I mean, but so, you got to give it up. The Angels taking care of business against the White Sox. That's all right. There's glimmers of hope. But what a frickin' cluster that is. I mean, I don't know. I just would love the Angels. I mean, what would you do? I mean, if you were, okay, let's assume you're Arte Moreno and you're keeping the team. What decisions would you make differently than what he's making now?
I said a couple of years ago on this podcast when we first got together, and somehow it came up to the conversation of where are they as an organization? What should the owner do? And you may recall this. I said the owner should call 2 of the most influential baseball people that I ever crossed paths with and just brainstorm with them and get some advice. One was Larry Lucchino, and the other was Theo Epstein. They were both out of baseball at that point in time. And just see what they have to offer you in terms of insight, how to build a franchise, operate a franchise. You're the right people to hire to fix Angel baseball. Of course, Larry was out of baseball and then eventually passed. Theo was in and out of ownership and went in different directions. But none of that happened. And he's had hire after hire after hire, no progress made whatsoever. And now, obviously, budget cuts because he lost his regional TV network, and they just they don't have enough on the roster. Their farm system is ranked almost dead last. It takes so long to build. They've made so many mistakes with free agency. He needs Artie, and I've dealt with Artie at many different levels. Sometimes I really like him. Sometimes I say, why are you doing this? He needed to meet with the right people outside the circle of baseball who've got baseball experience and just get advice. Take that advice and act on that advice and make some right decisions.
Yeah. I mean, like, what is Perry Manasian's background?
Scout.
Really? Did he play ball? I mean,
I'm sure he did, but
so it just seems like he tried. He had Joe Madden for a while. That didn't work out. Mm-hmm. And the hiring of Ron Washington was kind of weird, and then that whole thing went sideways and Washington got ill. Kurt Suzuki seems like an up-and-coming guy, but there's no, where's the brain trust?
Where's the blueprint?
It's just like Artie's trying, and he's stabbing at things in the dark. I just wish there was like a vision statement, kind of a 5-year plan. I mean, I don't understand it.
There are still retired baseball executives, Hall of Fame executives that you could use as a source of info. Take notes, get recommendations, get observations. Not that you're going to hire somebody that's 81 who's retired from baseball, but if you talk to somebody who's 81 who has had great success in the game, like I said, Lucchino, from a business perspective, or a young executive that had great success like Epstein, find out, pick their brain. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, let's keep on going. Let's go to Callan. Hey, howdy, gents. Love the Mighty Ducks sweaters. Nice bounce-back win last night. Got to carry that momentum into Game 3. Dostal was sensational last night, and the defense was one of a heater as well.
Oh, the goaltending at both ends of the ice, phenomenal. And you're talking about great playoff matchups. I mean, these two coaching staffs led by Kenville, and obviously what Las Vegas has hired and gotten hot with the direction of a guy that's been in the Stanley Cup Finals before. They play great positional hockey, two-way hockey. They attack the net, shots on goal, traffic in front. Holy cow! You know, my only quirk on the Ducks. You know, that first game, they had 5 shots where they had clear looks at the net, and instead of flipping a wrist shot with the net half open and the goaltender down, they tried to make a fancy Dan pass to get it closer. Could have won that first game. They should be up 2-0. Nonetheless, it's 1-1 coming home. You think it's going to be loud and crazy in Anaheim? It's going to be loud and crazy in Anaheim.
Yeah. No, the Ducks don't have any. What's their shtick? I've never been to a Ducks game in Anaheim.
Oh, now it's Orange Country.
Well,
my God.
Yeah, but do they have the Oilers had of the guy singing the national anthem, or do they have some sort of thing that happens?
Yeah, they have a mascot that flies down from the rafters down to center ice, and then they play the anthem. It's different. It's kind of cool. It's got a little Disney flavor to it.
Yeah, right on. So, okay, yeah, go Ducks.
All right, Hockey Hotline, that's why we're dressed the way we are. Go ahead.
All right, let's go to Do You Love It. Tatis's bat is unbelievable. How is this happening?
I think he's very undisciplined. And maybe that's got to do with intellect. Maybe he's not teachable. But, everybody, the left hand is saying, left hand is writing. Power. Look at the explosive. The velo off the bat. But it doesn't mean anything if he can't hit it out or he doesn't get base hits. And his other statistics, like I said, 50% of his swings now result in ground balls, means his mechanics are flawed. And, fly balls, which can be home runs, he only had 17% fly balls. That's an all-time low in his career. So just mechanically, he's all screwed up. And we got this 11-man coaching staff with Craig Stammen. End of the day, somebody in there has got to have some insight as to help him mechanically, and nobody's done it. Was he hitting 250? Yeah, he's hitting screaming line drives, but they're not doing anything.
Yeah, no, it's more like screaming worm burners, that are getting through the infield.
So we got a lot of baseball to play. We'll see if they can unlock that mystery, because they got to unlock a bunch of other mysteries in that batting order, too. I mean, team batting average with that payroll, 230? You're kidding me.
Yeah.
And they're living on borrowed time with this rotation. I mean, because this is real patchwork. And my friend here, he went crazy. You're not nominating Matt Waldron to the Hall of Fame after 5 innings.
No, but he was better than he's been. And
that's right. It was a one-time outing.
Right, but fine. He had a nice run a couple of years ago. Let's see if he can replicate that. Now, the Tatis thing, Padre Twitter, everyone's got a theory, on what's going on. Is it his mechanics? Is it his off-the-field issues? Is it that he's sad and wants to play shortstop? No. All of these things. And I'm happy Stammen moved him down in the order. But, to your point, the batting for a lot of guys is a problem. Now, Jake Cronenworth, let's talk about him for a minute. He is on the injured list. What is he had a delayed reaction to that pitch, like a concussion?
Concussion symptom.
Yeah, so dude's got to get straight. I mean, obviously recover from the concussion, but Cronenworth just looks like a shell of himself.
He's hitting 149 this year, and his numbers appreciably have gone down in the last 3.
Yeah, so this Sung Moon Song guy, is kind of a refreshing breath of fresh air. I'm happy that he's getting a chance. So I like the fact that Stammen is not stuck in some old-fashioned way of managing the team.
But they haven't solved anything.
Well, they're in second place, a half game behind the Dodgers. They're in the number 1 wild card spot. Granted, they should be playing better, but it's not like they're under 500. It's not like they're the L.A. Angels. I mean, come on.
But at the end of the day, thank God they've played people who are combined 37 games under 500.
Here we go. Cardinals, they're a legit team. They're on the rise. This will be another test. You know, I mean, by the way, I went to the Giants game, on Monday night, the Giants, Padres. And
Giants are a mess.
They are a mess. I tell you what, I picked a stinker of a game to go to on Monday night.
Yeah.
That was the one that Merrill had two hits and Laureano got the home run late. But the Tuesday game was like fireworks, a lot of offense, and then that Wednesday afternoon game was like spectacular. Beautiful sunny day in San Francisco. I picked the wrong one to go to, but at least the Padres won 2 out of 3 on the road. Let's see if they can do it against the Cardinals.
I can't argue with a knucklehead. Okay, we move on. Next one.
Let's go to. Here's a new name. Here's UNOSO95. Canning also pitched terrible in the minors. That doesn't mean anything, and only gave up 1 run.
Yeah, that was a good start, and he got progressively better and better. I mean, he admitted he was overamped in the first inning when he couldn't locate his pitches, but he was okay. But that's one start. Let's just see if he can build on that one start, like Waldron has to build on his next start based on what he just did 5 innings versus San Francisco. But in the big picture, they got 130 games to play, and you're not telling me that this pitching staff is going to get you in the playoffs. This pitching staff, with the mess of injuries and the fact that half the rotation, 2/3 of the rotation are refugees.
The pitching staff is why they are where they are. Because the hitting ain't hitting, obviously the Padres bullpen is great, but the starters have been effective enough, right, to get it done. And so, granted, you'd love to see Pivetta still out there. You'd love to see Marquez and Buehler better than they are, but they find a way to they're kind of figuring it out as they go.
So far. And
Griff Canning, I think, is going to be kind of fun. I think he's another guy.
Did you alert UNOSO95 to the rule that the first time you join us in Fans Forum, you're thereby mandated. You have to be with us every Monday and Thursday and join us.
Okay.
That's the new rule.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Okay, let's get some more hockey talk with Casey. Good afternoon, guys. Like those throwback Duck jerseys you guys got on. Hacksaw, who are my Kings considering to be the next coach? And got to give the Ducks their due as they are looking good.
Well, the hot name from the outside the circle is Peter Laviolette, who has, I think, coached 5 different teams, has done very well, also gotten fired, too. But Laviolette, if they want to make a change. But DJ Smith, it's kind of been lost in all the conversation because here the Kings get to the playoffs. Here the Kings get knocked out of playoffs in the first round again. Here the Kings don't score any bleeping goals. DJ Smith was 11-6-6 as the interim head coach, and the players kind of seem to respond to him. So at this point, well, they're going to bring him back or they're going to interview the people out in the field. I think they should interview people, including DJ Smith, and then make a decision. But the name that I keep hearing more than anybody else is Laviolette, the ex-Washington Caps coach.
Interesting. It's interesting watching a hockey game and the coaches are sort of like in the back row, of the and just sort of like calmly sitting there watching.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting. They always wear like suits and ties, right?
Well, Quenneville is stoic.
Yes.
Tortorella's.
But I mean, it's interesting, like when I'm used to seeing the coach there, on the bench with the players, kind of stoic. But every once in a while, you get a photo of the coach at a practice session. He's out there on the ice, he's got the stick, and because obviously these dudes are players.
Sure.
So we'll see how the Kings they got some fixing to do. But let's enjoy this run with the Ducks.
Oh my
goodness. Could go deep.
These guys are deep, and their third and fourth liners is an intangible in the playoffs, John. If your third and fourth liners have some goal scorers, sometimes historically those goal scorers show up in the postseason. What Killorn has done in the playoffs as a third and fourth liner for the Ducks is just amazing. The other guys are role players, and I mean this is a complete hockey team right now. So this is going to be fun. Tomorrow night is just going to be nutso.
It's great how, it's like every other night, the teams play with hockey and with the NBA, and so there's just a lot going on right now.
It is tough because I got split screen. I'm watching Puck and then Padres or Puck and maybe Lakers.
Yeah.
Split screen. My eyes just kind of go, woo.
Yeah. Well, you got to get you like about 2 or 3 televisions in your living room, make it like a sports book.
Well, do it here, Bill. You're the man who's got the resources. Put all TV screens. We'll come just live over here.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go here to our friend Joe. Hey, Lee and John, speaking on Tatis, is El Nino simply uncoachable? Do you suspect he has reviewed video of his great season of hitting 42 homers? Fernando likely is no captain video like Tony Gwynn. So what can you do do to bring him back to the good old days? Joseph from Brazil.
I think those are all valid comments. When you have a player that has grinded as much as Machado has, you wake up one day and your swing is not the same, or maybe you lose power in your swing. And he hits an occasional home run, but dude strikes out a lot, and he's hitting in the 230s again. Tatis, I don't know if he's coachable. It may well be. He's a great athlete, but there may be a intellect blockage there that he doesn't take instruction very well. How could you not solve this thing? It's tough to change your batting stance in mid-season, but if they have to go back to the leg lift and do something different, because this is ridiculous that there's no home runs at all, and he's only hitting 248, whatever it is, going into the series. So
he's hitting the ball hard. I mean, he's like at the top of the list in terms of miles per hour off the bat. But here's a theory. Maybe, do you think his dad is in his head? Like, is his dad calling him after every game? Hey, what are you doing?
His dad doesn't live here.
No, but his dad is his coach in the offseason, right?
Yeah, but this is now. You got 11 guys on Stammen's staff. Figure it out.
So he needs to figure it out. I'm just saying he's probably got a lot of people giving him advice, and the advice may be in conflict with the other person giving advice. And he's a young guy, and he's probably
not a young guy.
Well, he's 27 now, right?
Not a young guy.
Yeah,
we're talking a real vested veteran here.
Yeah, I mean he should be in the MVP conversation every year.
Well, the fact that he hit for average and hit 42 bombs, I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't buy the thing, well, he's not on juice anymore. I don't buy that at all.
You think he's still on it?
No. I think he's flawed as a player, and maybe he doesn't take instruction very well.
Well, something's wrong. I just don't know what it is.
Okay, we move on. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, let's go here to Teamer 20. Hey, Kikuchi isn't the Angels' ace. It's Soriano. Kikuchi gets paid like an ace, even though all he's been is mediocre.
Well, he's also had no support whatsoever. But if you go back last year, his collective ERA was pretty impressive. And he pitched pretty well this year until this shoulder thing flared. So they got 2 starting pitchers. That's all they got. And they got 0 in the bullpen right now. And this is the 6th year of Perry Minasian. Everything's going to be fine. Prognosis. And it's not. They just don't have enough starting pitching. And whatever good young starting pitching they have, the Bremner kid is at Class A. And he's got like a 1.08 ERA. But where he is in Class A compared to where Major League Ballpark, Angel Stadium, that's miles and miles and miles in time zones. So it's just not a good situation. Kikuchi is, if healthy, he's solid. But you got to score runs for your starting pitchers. Doesn't matter who it is. And they haven't really done that very much for him.
Kikuchi looked good against the Padres when they played. Yeah, he had a good outing that day. But, you're talking about how, there's the injuries with the Angels. You got question marks at the Padres pitching. Meanwhile, the Dodgers, Glasnow looks like he's down.
Dinged again.
And Snell's still bumping around in the minors. I mean, and then Skubal is hurt in Detroit. I mean, is any pitching staff, in good shape in the league?
Everybody's got problems.
Exactly.
But everybody can't be Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh, that's for certain.
Right. Well, yeah, he's just
from another planet.
Yeah, he is exactly from another planet. Okay, here, let's go to our friend John. Hey, good to see you guys today. Great piece on Ted Turner last night. The old mouth of the South changed baseball and cable TV business with his Superstation and Braves baseball all over the 50 states and the world. Then he changed the news business, for better or worse, when he started CNN and gave us round-the-clock 24-hour news. Not sure that worked out the way Ted envisioned, but at least we got Hacksaw streaming.
No, Ted believed in journalism. And he believed in volume of reporting, and I think is the most unique person in the media of our time that I think we'll ever see in the entertainment business, etc. Dynamic, no fear of being creative, no fear of taking gambles, etc. Just a very different person, and he was the front runner. He's the first one, and now. There are so many different platforms where you can get news or purported news or news the way somebody thinks it should be reported. But CNN was the first one. And I'll tell you, at the end of the day, and when there's something really big happening U.S.-wise or globally, where do I go to watch it? CNN.
Yeah. It's I'll give Ted Turner a lot of credit here because prior to CNN, really there was obviously no cable news because he was like the forefront of cable, but television news was like Walter Cronkite. It
was 30 minutes at 7 o'clock at night, and there it was, and that was it.
And then there were some news radio stations, but even before like Rush Limbaugh and all the politicization of it all. I like the fact that there was 24-hour news. I mean, I think that was terrific. Now, granted, we can criticize the way it's become so politicized.
Yes.
And then a lot of people criticize CNN, are they a legit news network? Is it fake news and all this? But Turner was a trailblazer. Turner broke through and was an entrepreneur, and he's a billionaire, but it's interesting that he's a billionaire that people don't necessarily hate. Which I think is a contradiction because you see a lot of people are down on billionaires now. I think Ted Turner is an American hero. American hero. I mean, what he has done in the world of sports and entertainment and news and media, I mean, he's a dude.
And what he's done globally, too.
Yeah.
I mean, should I say this? I mean, if we're going to give away Nobel Peace Prizes to people, I'd give it to him rather than your president.
Well, didn't FIFA give Trump like some kind of a peace prize?
Yeah, there was a made-up trophy.
Yeah, exactly. They just painted it gold.
Exactly.
And then everyone was happy.
John, thanks for the insight on Turner. He sure influenced a lot of us because when you need to know, where do you go to the info? Probably to CNN.
For breaking news, like, if there's been like a plane crash or an earthquake or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's go here to Bat Fam. Hacksaw throwback NFL question. Besides the 94 Charger season, what was your other favorite season working with the San Diego Chargers?
Wow. That's a really good question. They weren't very good when I got here. I came here in 1987, which was the smoldering embers of the Air Coryell group. I remember my first year doing Chargers football. They went 8-1 out of the gate with a new coach, Al Saunders. After they had fired Coryell. But they weren't a complete team. And then Dan Fouts got dinged up, and then the whole thing collapsed. I think they lost their last 6 games. And I thought to myself, boy, how sad is this? There's Dan, who set all these NFL passing records, and every one of those guys around him is gone. And he's the last man standing, and he's just getting pounded. And I felt really bad. And then Dan promptly elected to retire at that point, went on to what I thought was a very, very good broadcasting career. But we had such a long road back, because they were trying to fix it. They had Dan, and they were trying to draft defense. And all the guys they drafted on defense got hurt, starting with Leslie O'Neal. And one year they drafted a whole secondary, and none of them panned out because they all had injuries. So it took them forever. And then Bobby Beathard arrived, and he came with a unique formula and an old-school coach and Bobby Ross. And they rented some really unique veterans that they hit the jackpot on. And they had the one given year with Stan Humphries and all these guys they imported. They had so many street people, John. It was absolutely amazing. Every one of those guys that were off the waiver wire or guys that they had traded for turned out to be stars for 1 year. The Charger players thought, well, we got to the Super Bowl, we got beat, we'll be back. No, you won't. Because your team is never the same from 1 year to the next. And by virtue, I'll never forget this. We had the Super Bowl season. It got blown out by the Niners. Everybody was optimistic. Well, we'll just get back there again. By the time opening day came that next fall, all 5 offensive linemen had knee surgeries.
Yeah.
And it was just never the same. And then Humphries took a battery, and then Humphries went out with a concussion and never played in the NFL again. But Beathard was mostly unique. I don't think we had a lot of great seasons, but I would think being around Beathard, to me, was the most intriguing thing because he was cut from a different cloth. I walked down that hallway, and I had access to the inner sanctum, and I got along all with their personnel people, and they'd answer my questions off the record, on the record. Some we could use, some we couldn't use. But just the insight about how you get, who you got, why you got this guy, et cetera. And the roster building that Beathard did after the Dan Henning era going into the Bobby Ross era, it was he was so eclectic, but he stockpiled so many guys coming off the street that turned out to be really good role players that all came together and all stayed healthy on that one Super Bowl year.
Yeah. It all came together that year. I mean, the other year I remember was 92 because that was the year that they finally got into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They had to play the Chiefs, I think, in the first round that time. But I remember that season, they started out 0-4, and then somehow they traded for Stan Humphries. I can't remember who was the quarterback at the time when Humphries was
Humphries had been hidden on the Washington Redskins injured reserve list with, quote, a blood disorder. He did not have a blood disorder. But they hid him because they wanted to save him because they saw something there. But then Stan finally got healthy, and then they traded for Tony Martin. They traded for Sean Jefferson. Touchdown Tony, was a speed guy. Jefferson was a route runner and a big guy. Obviously, they drafted Natron Means, who was kind of a load of a running back for a short period of time in his career. But to me, the free agent acquisitions, Stan Brock had never played in a playoff game in his entire life. He'd been with New Orleans forever. He was a hell of a leader, just a man-mountain guy. But he came in. They got a left tackle from Baltimore. It was a converted defensive end, Harry Swain. He became a Pro Bowler. He was a defensive end, became a left tackle. So those were the cornerstones. They drafted a 19-year-old center from Rice, Courtney Hall, who has since passed away at a very young age. Really bright guy, tough guy.
Yeah.
And then they went out and they found defensive players. Yes, they had Seau, and yes, they had drafted Rodney Harrison, and those guys were growing into it. But they found 2 defensive tackles that are on waivers. I call them tons of fun. Sean Lee, Reuben Davis. They played hellacious. They were big, wide-body guys. So and they had Leslie O'Neal, and that 1 year, holy cow, it came together. And Bobby Ross was obviously the catalyst, and they believed everything he said, and they did what he wanted, and unique season. But it was a short-term fix because then injuries, and then everything changed. Then Ross got fired, and then Beathard made mistakes in whom he hired to replace Ross, and it really went off track.
Kevin Gilbride, was that? Yeah, that didn't work out. Now, take me back to the "damn it, Sean Lee" incident. What happened that time?
He kept jumping offside. It was, I guess it might have been a playoff game, and I liked him. He was a really nice man from Brooklyn, New York, small college football guy from North Alabama, and we weren't playing well, and I think he jumped offside 4 or 5 times in a game. I just kind of lost my mind. But I mean, I knew the rationale of what was going on. He's trying to get the jump on the snap count, but it was tough. And he was a nice man. But and he died very suddenly of a heart attack. So
there are a lot of guys that passed away
12.
from that Super Bowl team.
12 guys passed away from a wide variety of things.
Well, one of them was in a plane crash in the Everglades, right?
Yes. One in a plane crash. One guy died in an auto accident. Another guy died of cancer. One of the kid linebackers died with a lightning strike hit while hiking in the Grand Canyon.
Oh, my God.
Yes, there's just a lot of weird things that happened to a whole bunch of good people.
It's a San Diego sports curse, man.
Oh, geez. Next move.
Okay, let's go here to Douglas. Hey, you and Hartman should be on the new sports radio station in L.A.
That's interesting. So there's, for the people here in San Diego don't know, there have been 2 pseudo sports talk stations in L.A. 710 ESPN, where my guy Scott Kaplan does one of the morning shows, and then 570 KLAC, which has been there for a long period of time. And, of course, that's a Dodger flagship station. 710 ESPN's the Laker flagship station. But they don't have talk show hosts like we had talk show hosts at 690, 1090. They have just TV guys or newspaper guys. There's nothing that grabs you to make you really want to listen. They're not doing anything in the ratings at all. So now there's a third station. They just announced an FM station is going to go on, and they just announced their staff. Their on-air talk show staff. And there's not one talk show experienced guy who's been in L.A. or San Diego as part of the new team. And it's interesting. I would have bet my first phone call would have been to Steve Hartman.
Yeah.
You want to come home? You want to work in L.A.? Because he's got a resume, My second call might have been to Hacksaw. I don't know if I would have done it, could have done it, can do it. But they hired fringe guys who are doing podcasts, a few former players. Derek Fisher's a nice guy. But you can be a morning talk show host. John, the work factor, the hours, the wear and tear. I don't know professional athletes who want to put that much time into what might be their new profession, because this is not showing up at 5:55 in the morning and going until 10. I mean, there's a lot of work to be a morning drive host or an afternoon drive host, and I was both. So I just don't know what the long-term feature is. And they're doing it without any play-by-play. And see, I happen to think the two biggest ingredients, and that's why 690 was successful, you need a big stick with power signal, and you need some play-by-play. Now, we did not have the baseball. We had the Chargers. But then we hired dynamic sports talk show guys. So I don't know if they're going to make it. L.A. market's so different. And the two stations that are there, I don't think are successful. Christ, they don't have any ratings. I get the rate. I get access to all that stuff. I know what's going on in that market, this market, et cetera. So we'll see where it goes. If I were king, I would have hired that guy, but that wasn't asked.
I like when you start talking about sports talk radio, because I mean, obviously, your track record, you're the pioneers of that.
I know what I know.
But you know what? I don't think Derek Fisher is going to do his morning show and then do play-by-play for the Lakers and then suddenly do play-by-play for the Trojans or the Bruins like you used to. I mean, you were working
9 days a week.
Yeah.
I think back, somebody else asked me about that on a talk show. I do all these guest appearances on talk shows now. Somebody else asked me about that about a week ago. I said, I don't know how I did that, because I was doing 4 hours of sports talk every night, and I was producing my own shows, which meant I was spending all day researching info and chasing guests and then doing the show. And then at home at night, I would do the show. I would do the prep for the play-by-play, whether it was the Aztecs and the Chargers or whether it was USC and then Seattle. I said, how the hell did I do all that?
Well, that was all before the internet. I mean, how did you have access to the data? And that must have been, you had to get some printed Baseball America magazines and things.
But the NFL teams at that era would send out packets to you. They'd FedEx them or...
Oh, interesting.
They'd mail them to you, and you'd have them by Wednesday. It would be press release, statistics, prints of stories have been written in that market. We're going to play the Steelers. Steelers would send me probably a 10-page release and probably a 5-page statistical packet.
So all 32 teams are mailing you stuff?
Well, the teams that we were going to play would mail me stuff.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So that's how I do it. But I look back now and say, wow, how the hell did I do that? But that's what I did. And I was meeting myself coming and going in the airport. How
did your family handle all that?
Sometimes okay, sometimes not okay.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
I regret. I don't have a lot of regrets. I had a great career. I work really hard. I would hope somebody in San Diego and Los Angeles appreciates what we built at 690 or how hard we worked. I don't have a lot of regrets, but I kind of regret my kids grew up kind of without me because I was always working. I was always on the road, and they had great things that they're doing in their careers growing up, and I missed a whole bunch of that. I wish it was a little bit different, but what did I know? I had a career, and I was trying to do the best I could.
Yeah. I mean, well, you have a life, and you have a career, and you're going to pursue that, and it's a demanding job, but, you're not the only man in America that's had a demanding career and wasn't there as much as they would have liked to for their kids.
Yep.
It just kind of goes with the territory, right?
Yeah, I kind of reflect back on it now. It's like, gee, I missed that. I wish I had not missed that. But
yeah. It's all trade-offs.
Yep, exactly.
It's all trade-offs. Hey, let's go here to XX Revolution. Hey, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, they want Major League Baseball in Vancouver.
They got to build a stadium. Portland wants Major League Baseball. Got to build a stadium. Portland's ahead of Vancouver, I think, in financing and land acquisition. Vancouver has got the stigma that NBA failed there. But see, I tend to think that Vancouver would be successful if they can build a stadium. But that's a mega investment. How do you make that work? So that's going to be interesting to see. Portland's a smaller market, but could it be a good regional market? Maybe. But boy, Portland's really small. Nashville out here in the Deep South really has an infrastructure that seems to think that the Mid-South would be a great place to put a franchise. Charlotte is still on the periphery. That triangle has really grown and exploded population-wise, but they don't have a stadium either. So we'll just see who comes up with financing in the stadium. And the size of the market's very, very important to Major League Baseball. They're not going to go into a small regional situation. They want to go where they can make a big impact in a big market because at the end of the day, it's revenue streams.
Well, Vancouver lost the Grizzlies, so I can't imagine Major League Baseball is going to be rushing to get into Vancouver. But I'll tell you what, Vancouver's a great city. Oh, just a wonderful city.
Yes.
And I went to a minor league ball game there. They either had a single A or a double A team there.
Used to have a triple A in the Pacific Coast League. Now I think it's in the Northwest League.
Yeah.
Class A.
Right on.
But a small stadium.
Yeah, very small stadium.
But, they got their soccer team has a problem. Soccer team's up for sale. They're trying to get a stadium built. Have not been able to get that done in Vancouver. And now there's rumors that the Whitecaps, who've been in business since the 1970s, might wind up getting sold and moved. So if you can't build a soccer stadium, you think you can finance a baseball stadium?
Yeah, I'm sure the fans would love to have an MLB team. I'm just not sure if it's going to work. Hey, let's go here to Music to My Ears. Thanks for your donation. Hey, you are all our dads, Hacksaw. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the compliment. We worked hard. It is fascinating. I run into people all the time that say, wow. And they now they just found out that I have a podcast. Wow, we got to sample that. So you guys can help us grow. You need to go into your, correct term, Rolodex? No, address book. You need to email everybody who's a sports fan everybody.
Yeah,
and just
your
tell
contact list.
Contact list. Hacksaw is back with a podcast Mondays and Thursdays on YouTube. Check this stuff out. So it's kind of cool to run across, I do all the grocery shopping, and these guys at the meat counter, you're a Hacksaw. Damn, I listened to you back in the day, or I was in the car. My dad would listen to you and taking me to school, and that's cool.
There's a lot of social media comments that are like that, where I used to be in the car with my dad, or I was in the garage. My dad was working on the car.
Well, my dad was a delivery man and had the radio on all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's
cool.
Great. I mean, I love all those stories.
I take exception, though, because they're also on social media. People say, dumbass isn't relevant anymore. Well, check my website. Tell me I'm not relevant. I don't know what's going on. And listen to this podcast because it's damn different than a lot of other people's podcasts.
Yeah, it is. All right. Okay, let's keep on going. And this is a good one from HB949 Sports Jeff. Had a chance to watch the 1984 Padre Braves brawls thanks to TBS.
That was Pascual Perez beating people and running for cover. That was Craig Lefferts plunking them and triggering. And that was a really bad brawl because that sucker was out of control.
That was the all-time brawl.
And that went on and on and on. But I thought it was really funny, and I like Craig Lefferts. So he's the guy that throws a retaliation pitch, and he promptly backpedals into the Padre dugout. He was not going to throw punches in it, but the fight was really bad. Champ Summers and all those guys.
Summers, yeah.
And Pascual Perez was running for his life because people were out to get him because he had a history of beating people.
Yeah. I remember Pascual Perez was one of the first players to wear gold chains.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a mouthy guy as well. Mm-hmm. But and by the way, you go back to that to watch those replays. That's when the Braves are wearing those sweet, powder blue uniforms. Mm-hmm. And then the Padres had their Taco Bell uniforms, the brown with the yellow and orange highlights. Mm-hmm. And you see Tony Gwynn out there as a young man. And was that 84 or was it 83? I can't remember one or the other, but yeah, that goes down as probably the biggest brawl because it was hot and then it would cool off and then it would get hot again
because people kept going after each other.
Yeah, and then people would retreat to the dugouts and then the players would come after them, and that was unbelievable.
Well, but the thing is, Perez had such a bad history of being a red ass. And after a while, people say, you're going to do that? Fine. We're going to stick one in your ear. And eventually it happened. So.
Let's go back to Callan. This is another good comment from him. He goes, I remember watching Randy Johnson's perfect game on my birthday, May 18th, against the Braves on TBS when I was living in Pacific Beach. Rip Ted.
I remember watching, I think I was working in Phoenix at that time, and so this would have been really with the emergence of CNN. And Braves baseball was really bad.
Yeah, they were.
And I watched a game on a July 4th holiday, and I think the damn game went 22 innings and was decided. Braves pitcher, I don't know, it was Tony Cloninger. Somebody hit a grand slam home run. The game was on at 4 o'clock in the morning Atlanta time. They went 22 innings. TBS stayed with it. And I happened to watch I got up early and I watched it was still on my TV. and they were shooting off fireworks at Fulton County Stadium at 4 o'clock in the morning in Atlanta because one of the Braves pitchers hit a grand slam home run. Just amazing.
It was just cool that they branded themselves as America's team. Now, the Cowboys always said they were America's team, but which one used that brand slogan first, I wonder?
Oh, I think it was the Dallas Cowboys because they were great back in the day.
In the 70s, right?
But Ted Turner used the term Superstation, which nobody could use.
What was funny is I had an uncle that he would refer to the station as Ted Turner rather than TBS. He said, let's turn on Ted Turner and see if we watch some Braves baseball. But yeah, those were great times. And Randy Johnson, we were invoking him when we were talking about Cruz Schoolcraft, who I think is going to be like a Randy Johnson. He has the potential to be like that.
The kid's got a 13.50 ERA in the California League after they held his hand for the entire first year he was a pro.
Yeah, but he's 6'8"?
Yeah, I agree.
And he's a big lefty, and he throws heat, so he'll be good. Let's go to Gary. This is a good one. Hey, you were a big part of the San Diego Chargers lore. We sure do appreciate the tirelessly working all you did through our glory years. Never got the trophy, but what a great ride it was. Thanks, Saw.
It really was. And even people who ask me about getting blown away in the Super Bowl. To me, the journey, that year was magic for our community. That's the coolest part. That's what I flash back to. Not so much Steve Young throwing 6 touchdown passes and what an awful night that was, because that was one of the great modern-day offenses in the National Football League. But the journey of seeing a bad team get good, come together, the eclecticness and the leadership of the great Bobby Beathard, even though it kind of ended really badly. It felt very badly for Bobby when he finally got fired, when the whole thing just unraveled here, the 1-15 Ryan Leaf season and all that junk. And then obviously the sadness and the hole in our heart with the Spanos out of pure greed moving the franchise to Los Angeles. But it was great. And the Chargers, San Diego fans really should flash back and just remember the greatness of the old AFL Chargers under Sid Gilman back in the embryonic AFL days. Obviously, the brilliance of Coryell, what they accomplished with Beathard and Bobby Ross, the Super Bowl run, and even to a degree Marty Ball. We've had some really good football here in spurts of time, so that's what we should remember. But it's the black cloud of what the Spanos family did to 55 years of loyalty in the community, or what they did to my station, what they did to me, and how they acted, and that kind of makes us feel real bad, real angry. But boy, there have been some, John, neon light moments in Charger history. Is really cool.
Yeah, well, good and bad. Yeah. I mean, remember that the Marty goes 14-2.
And gets fired.
That was the Marlon McCree game, right? Where the Tom Brady threw that interception, and McCree ran it back and then fumbled it.
But he didn't get fired for that game. He got fired because of coaching staff and whom he wanted to hire, and A.J. Smith wouldn't let him do it, and it just get really.
But that was the year the Chargers were the number 1 overall. They had home field advantage all the way through.
And gave it away.
And that's when Brady was really young.
Yep.
That was probably, in 04 maybe, 06?
Could be.
Something like that.
But thank you for the compliment. We enjoyed it. Remember the good times, because that's where you embrace that history. I'm sad because I think our community, I think our media has totally forgotten and ignored anything as it relates to the really good times with Charger football. And it's a piece of our fabric of the community. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. We have sure covered an awful lot. And how about that? We didn't get criticized for not violating the dress code today.
Yeah, a lot of love.
Had to do this again. We hope you've enjoyed the podcast. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. You can help us grow this thing. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the follow button. Give us a 5-star ranking on Apple. Tell your friends we are here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check my website, the new layout, the new format. Tell me if you like it or not. It's really, really different. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations to serve you. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things they have to offer. We'll be back here 1:30 on Monday. Go Ducks. Don't miss tomorrow night. All things hockey, it's going to be something. John, have a great sports weekend. You look pretty good as a hockey fan.
I do. Hey, hell yeah. Go Ducks, man. I mean, this is the time. We've got a playoff team here in SoCal.
I agree. You have yourself a great sports weekend, too. Thanks, as always, for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.